How do you explain? How do you describe a love that goes from east to west, as deep as it is wide? You know all our hopes, you know all our fears, and words cannot express the love we long for you to hear. So listen to our heart, hear our spirit sing, and hear us sing a song of praise, a song of praise that flows from those who have redeemed. We will use the words we know to tell you what an awesome God you are. But words are not enough to tell you of our love, so listen to our hearts.
If words could fall like
rain
from these lips
of mine, and if I had 1,000 years, I'd still run out of time.
if you listen to my
heart, every beat will say, thank you for the life and truth, and thank you for the way. So listen to our heart, hear our spirit sing, and hear us sing a song of praise, a song of praise that flows from those who have redeemed. We will use the words we know to tell you what an awesome God you are. But words are not enough to tell you of our love, so listen to our hearts. So listen to our hearts. Hear our spirit sing, and hear us sing a song of praise, a song of praise that flows from those who have redeemed. We will use the words we know to tell you what an awesome God you are. But words are not enough to tell you of our love, so listen to our hearts. But words are not enough to tell you of our love, so listen to our hearts.
I'm Bill Mays with a Stepping Stone Bible devotional thought brought to you on behalf of the Krum Church of Christ in Krum, Texas. Today's Stepping Stone on this Wednesday, July the 10th of the year 2024 is entitled, I Never Intended to Quit, based on a story by Brother Gus Nichols. Brother Gus Nichols lived from 1892 to 1975, and he was known as a great gospel preacher, brilliant student of God's Word, and well-known writer. Thousands were immersed into Christ because of his good influence in preaching. I have some of his good books in my library. Here is just one of his many thoughtful articles. He wrote, a man who had not attended one service of the church in 4 years told me that he had never thought of quitting the church. I reminded him that he had already, number one, withdrawn his presence from its services. Number two, refused to give his moral support to the activities of the congregation. And number three, had withdrawn his financial support, for he had not given one dime to help carry on the Lord's work. And so I asked him, what else would one have to do in order to quit the church? In case you ever decided that you no longer desire to be a member, what other steps would it be, or what other steps would it be necessary for you to take? Just what else would be necessary to quit the church? As his true status dawned on him, his expression reflected his somber thoughts. He replied, "Why, Brother Nichols, I've already quit, haven't I? Well, I surely didn't mean to, and I don't know when I did it, but I've quit the Lord and His church. I'll tell you right now, I'm coming back." And he did too. At the next service, he was restored, and 3 years later, he was still faithful. Dear reader, how about you? Have you quit the Lord and His church without resolving to do so? Perhaps no one deliberately decides to quit, while many carelessly drift into backsliding. If you have, number one, quit attending the services. Number two, quit boosting the program of activities planned by the elders. And number three, quit giving as God has prospered you to enable the congregation to meet its budget. You need to be restored. Here, and that was the article by Gus Nichols. With that previous story in mind, what should we be willing to sacrifice in our service for the Lord? What should we be willing to sacrifice for Christ and His church? We are taught in Romans 12, verses 1 through 2, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living and holy sacrifice acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect." You see, from this passage we find God wants you, every bit of you, in His service and in doing His will. Jesus taught in John 15, verses 13 and 14, "Greater love is no one than this, that a person will lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you." Think about that. Would Jesus call you friend right now, according to how you are obeying His commands right now? The Hebrews writer has written these "let us" encouragements in Hebrews 10, verses 22 through 26. Let us approach God with a sincere heart and full assurance of faith. Let us hold firmly to the confession of our hope without wavering. Let us consider how to encourage one another in love and good deeds, not abandoning our own meeting together, as is the habit of some people. For if we go on sinning willfully after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins. Hebrews 10:25 refers to the habit of some people. This describes the bad habit of regularly being absent. Quitting the church often comes from the forming of bad habits in our lives. May God keep these bad habits out of our lives, for our soul salvation is at stake. If the Krum Church of Christ can be of any help to you spiritually, please go to this website, find their email address, let them know what they can do to help you in drawing closer to Jesus Christ. As always, I also want to invite you to the services of the Krum Church of Christ that meets at 319 North 3rd Street in Krum, Texas, for Sunday Bible study at 9:30 a.m., Sunday worship at 10:30 a.m., and Wednesday Bible study such as this very evening at 6:45 p.m. I hope you can be there. God bless, be well, and I hope you will choose again next week to join us for another Stepping Stone Bible devotional lesson.